Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Greg Furman, market analyst here at TraderPlanet.com, and these are the market positions for November the 9th, 2010. Now our first position is going to be in the stock market. We're going to be looking at the Motorola stock, the MOT. What I've got here is a series of lines that I've drawn here identifying levels of support. Now what I'm going to do is back this out a little bit so everybody can see this. Now what's interesting here is that you can see how the market has made these consecutive moves higher with these slight dips, and I've outlined that by drawing a little bit of a line in support, so you can see almost like a ladder going up here. Now I've also drawn a little bit of a trend line right here where we can see the triple EMA cross is trying to make its move yet again. So this appears to be a fresh buying opportunity on this Motorola stock. So let's go in now and have a look at some of the key levels that we want to consider buying this at. Now you can see here the market, the triple EMA has tried to make its cross right here about a week and a half ago. It couldn't. Then it pulled back, but now we're actually crossing over here. We're right at basically a crossroads on this stock. The predicted true strength indicator, the predicted MACD, both are supportive of this trade, as are the predicted medium and long-term differences. So what we would be looking, we've closed at $8.15. Key levels, excuse me, 8.15, 8.12, 8.10. So all of our predicted moving averages are all stacked on top of each other right here. This trend line is drawn showing the support is moving up each day. This suggests that this stock is getting ready to break to the upside yet again, probably close to this $9 mark. So for tomorrow, let's go in and have a look at the daily highs and the daily lows for tomorrow. But I can pretty much tell you right now, I'd be looking to buy this stock right off the open, right around that $8.10 mark. But we're going to look at the daily report just to be safe. Now looking at the daily report, we can see that the neural index is up yet again. We've got 830 and 807 is the low. So for tomorrow, $8.10 is what we're going to be looking at buying this stock, and this is going to take a few days, maybe a week, but we're going to be looking for a fairly big move towards that $9 mark, because again, when we have all these predicted moving averages stacked on top of each other like this, it is getting ready to break one side or the other. It is somewhat of a volatile time right around here, but again, looking at these support, the lows of the day are all higher and the highs of the day are all higher. So again, we want to use a very slight pullback to get into a buy position. Now looking closer at this again, we're going to go into our properties and we're going to pull this up to see if we can get further support for this trade. We want to look at all three of our major crossovers from Vantage Point. Now our short-term crossover, we can see crossed to the upside a couple of days ago, so the short-term is saying that it's going higher. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pull up our medium-term crossover. Everything looks good. The medium-term crossover crossed to the upside actually a couple of weeks ago, but we can see that that didn't really hold and it pushed back lower. Now what we want to do is look at our final crossover before that triple EMA, and that's our long-term crossover, and it's supportive also. So everything here is supportive of our buy position. So again, I expect very shallow pullback for tomorrow, maybe nothing at all. It's difficult to say. Now in this particular case, we want to have our stops below the I would say below the 730, 740 area. We definitely want to make sure they're below this level that I've drawn off this 770 area. So it looks like this trade is setting up pretty good. And if we go back over a year's time, up until about a year ago, we can see that this stock was actually considerably higher than this. We can just see a little bit of an outline here up over this $9 mark. So looking at everything, it appears that this is a pretty decent trade, and we've got an opportunity to pick up maybe 10, 15, 20% return on our investment on this stock, and that's exactly the kind of trade we want to look for. Now that's our first position for tonight. Now our second position, we're going to be looking at the January lumbers futures contracts. The lumber contracts here look kind of interesting to me. We're pulling back again to the 18-day predicted moving average, which comes in at 271.40. We can see that the last time the triple EMA cross went off right here, it moved lower, then we've moved considerably higher, and then it's come back and hit the 18-day predicted moving average only to go from 260 all the way up to the 290 area. So right now we've closed at 273. Our key levels 276.90, 277, and 271.40. So 271.40 is a critical level for me. We can see that our predicted medium and long-term differences are holding above that zero line. We have no crossover on the trigger just yet. The predicted MACD, however, is trying, but again, we can see that the predicted MACD crossed the trigger rate here back in the end of October, middle of October, only for it to turn around. The 18-day predicted moving average turned around, supported the long trade, and it moved considerably higher. So we're going to be looking for this 271 area to hold. So with that said, now that we've done the analysis on our key pivot areas, let's go in and have a look at the daily report and see exactly what's happening there. Very important that we check all of these things. We're going to go back and check those crossovers too, because I'm pretty sure the short term is on the downside. So looking at the contracts, we've got the second day of the neural index to the downside. 270.20 is the predicted low, 277.3 is the high. So looking at yesterday, we had a predicted low of 273.6. The actual market went to 273. That is an extremely good call. You know, Vantage Point nailed this thing right within that tight little amount, and I'm not a big fan of the predicted high and predicted low on a day-to-day basis under volatile conditions like that, but even during that it held. So for tomorrow, Vantage Point is saying we're looking at about the 270 area. So 271 in my view is a decent area to look at long positions. Stops in this particular case I would prefer to have below this last major level here, so about the 259, 260 area. Stops should be in that area, and again we're going to be looking for 271, so just a very minor pullback on the open to get into our buy positions. Now what we're going to do is, again, we want to look at the major crossovers. Vantage Point, again, being a crossover based system, we want to make sure we're utilizing all of that. So looking here, we can see that the short-term crossovers to the downside. In the short term, Vantage Point is suggesting that's where the market's going to go. That's exactly where the market went. Now here's where it gets a little tricky. Vantage Point in the medium term, however, is not saying that. We can see that it's attempting to cross, but it has not crossed. The medium term outlook from Vantage Point here, based around this crossover, there is no crossover to the downside. So this is telling us to use this short-term corrective move as an opportunity to get back into those buy positions. Now again, very important that we look at everything that's available to us, not just one or two indicators, not just the short-term stuff. This is where people get caught up in whipsaws and everything else. So for tomorrow, we're going to be looking at that 271 area to get into the buy position. So those are the market positions for November the 9th, 2010. And again, my name is Greg Furman, market analyst here at TraderPlanet.com.